And I was like, I'm on the corner of LBJ and Preston, and if any women want to come arm wrestle Super Dave, come now. I mean, seriously, it's all, and and I got George Michael tickets for any woman who could beat me in arm wrestling. I mean, seriously, this is the stuff we were doing.
Super Dave,
And
I used to sunbathe and listen to you. This is not a joke. Like,
Wait, what? Sorry,
Sunbathe.
Sorry, what?
I'll never be able to unhear that.
I know. Nor will our audience, which we just lost about half of.
We know.
Why were you
The numbers are rapidly declining.
Why were you
There they go.
sunbathing?
We just lost about 5 subscribers.
And I was on it like, Jeff, I'm on it like 6 in the morning. The sun wasn't even out. 6 in the morning.
I haven't used that verbiage to talk about it. Yo, wow, you're turning red right now. Are you sunbathing?
every time I hear him, it just comes back.
I used to sunbathe and listen to you.
You're the first person that's ever told me that.
Everybody else kept that stuff bottled up.
Not Jeff. Nope.
The stuff that comes out of the BeatiDudes.
Oh, hey, y'all, everybody. Welcome to BeatiDudes Nation. We are rocking it local today. We're going to have an incredible show. Thanks for joining us. The BeatiDudes is a show for Christian men looking to grow in their own walk with the Lord, but to do it with authentic fraternity, so much so that we've cornered the market on fraternity podcasts. But truly, this is humor,
true. That is a
holiness.
fact.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The internet
Top
said
of the
it.
charts.
Yeah, so it has to be. It has to be
The
true of the
internet
internet.
chart. Listen, we have it all here, but what we have to start off with is three amazing great men. I'm one of them. I'm Jeff Shufflebine.
We do have 4 amazing great
Yes.
men, but as co-hosts, there are 3.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to that dude. It's Nick Bessner.
Yo.
Paul, are you pretty amazing too? It's Paul Coker.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to think so, but I don't usually say it out loud, so it feels a little weird right now.
Definition of humility,
That's
folks.
it. That's it.
It's an aura. And today we are joined by a very dear friend of ours who is local here in the kind of Catholic headquarters of Irving, Texas, a.k.a. the Vatican Valley.
That's it.
But his voice can be heard across the airwaves of the internet all over the U.S. and when he's hosting other shows and the Guadalupe Radio Network and Catholic Answers sometimes as a guest, whatever.
And 30th anniversary of CPLC, weren't you the man of the year for
Oh,
that?
he was the man of the year last
Yeah.
year.
Person of the year.
Okay, sorry.
I'm a man, but it was officially the person of the year. They don't choose man.
Yeah.
I am a man. Hey, welcome, Dave Palmer.
Thank you so much.
Woo.
This is really surreal. I've done so many interviews. I mean, hundreds, if not thousands. But
Thousands.
coming over here to be with you guys, I got to say, it's half surreal and it's kind of intimidating. So you guys be nice to me, okay?
It's bizarro world, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're used
yeah.
to the other side.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
ever heard the expression of fever dream?
No,
That the
keep
kids
going.
Ever heard of
Heard of
fever
it.
dream?
Oh,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
temperature thing going.
No. Well,
That's where it comes from. Like when you're out of it.
A fever dream is what my daughters introduced me. It's kind of like when something seems unreal, but it's not a dream. It's real, but it doesn't. You kind of almost like, is this really happening or am I in a dream? That's
Paul,
kind of
do you want
how
Paul
I
to
feel
pinch
right now. No,
Too
no,
late.
thank
Do you
you.
want me to knock knees with you harder?
In your dream, you wouldn't feel this.
Ow!
Dead leg.
I kicked Paul to make him feel it.
Yeah,
Does-
thanks.
Does every show start off with the guy talking about how close he is to you guys physically
Generally.
and how odd that feels?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We want people to feel like they're out to lunch with us, and the 4 of us sat on this side of the booth.
Yeah.
It's like that couple. Like
I was gonna say we just all sat at a bar, but I like the idea that we're crammed in the corner of a booth.
we saved a chair for you.
Yes. You're between us.
I
Yeah,
love it.
it's great. It's good. It's really good to be here.
You have a great voice for radio. Has anybody ever told you that?
No, I never heard that. Actually, when I used to live in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was a TV weatherman back then.
Whoa.
And I was a TV weatherman, but I dreamed of being on radio. Radio was always something I wanted to do.
Huh.
And I used to get the newspaper, and I'd get one of those recorders with like the little, like the actual tape recorders.
Yeah.
And I'd read the newspaper into the recorder, and then I'd play it back, and I'd listen to it. and then I'd rewind and I'd listen. I was literally practicing to be a
Amazing.
radio guy. You know, so
So-
now when people say, "Yeah, you sound like a radio guy," it's like it.
So for all our Gen Z listeners, a newspaper,
Yeah. There's a lot you got to tell them.
Tape recorder.
tape recorder,
and a weatherman.
yeah,
Oh wait, and don't forget knowledge.
So young people have no idea any of those references. It's like the whole sentence made no sense. Right?
Google it on your cell phone where you can do all of the things he just described.
They don't know what a weatherman is.
You can actually
Nobody
just
watches the weather anymore. It's on your app.
for you young
sorry.
people, just get AI to do it for you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's like your 10,000 hours you read out loud to yourself.
I did a lot of which because I had no like social life and no dates, and so I'd sit home on Friday nights and I'd read into
I
a
see a
recorder.
wedding
Yeah,
ring there. Something
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Something happened.
met her online. Yeah,
There you go.
I had to wait for that internet.
yeah.
Dave, when I was in second grade, my parents got a camcorder, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make TV commercials. And I made hours and hours and hours of commercials, and then dance videos, and then comedies and bands. And I basically got my 10,000 hours of like public speaking by doing exactly what you said. I'd be like, oh, that looked cool. That didn't look cool. Taught myself stupid tricks that I called dancing, and it worked out pretty well.
I know. Nothing comes without a lot of hard work.
Got you a Broadway
I
gig.
bet you this guy has done a lot of looking in the mirror and telling jokes to himself.
He
in the
was
mirror.
he was pointing at me and basically saying I'm a narcissist. So
You stare at that mirror all
No,
the time.
I mean you got to see yourself.
That's
you gotta
right.
practice.
no,
right?
there's something to that, and when you audition on tape, because a lot of this we say on tape, it's still called that, air quotes, right? But it's digitally, it's just with DSLRs and so you actually get to see what your performance looks like
Yeah.
before you submit it back, and you're like, oh, okay, well let me tweak that next time, or maybe
Yeah.
even this time I noticed something, so let me redo that.
Run it again.
Yeah. So I mean, but you do get those hours of just noticing, oh, this is how that comes across on
Well, I
camera.
noticed, like, I was looking at Giancarlo Bernini and his YouTube, and he does some, like, tricks where he's, like, practicing in a mirror.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, because he needs to know, what is the audience seeing as I'm doing this trick? Am I doing it well
Yeah.
enough that it's hidden? I love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
quick side note, if I can just toss this out there,
Please.
and feel free to pile on with this, Dave, if this suits your fancy. But I have a theory. A lot of people say, oh, you're just really talented, or you have a gift and all this, and there's some truth to that. I'm not saying that there's nothing in that that's God given or whatever, but that you a lot of it is that some people just start earlier on their 10,000 hours. Right, like you're
Totally.
exposed to a camcorder at the age of what? When were you?
Yeah, I was like 8 years old, and
Yeah.
I was making videos every single day.
Right. So you got 10,000 hours before most people would have even started trying to be on camera at
Yep.
like
Right.
18 or 19 or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, that is a lot of it, I think.
It goes back to like that whole book, whatever it is, Tipping Point or whatever, where, if you're born in a certain time in Minnesota, you're more likely to get more hockey playing time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
Get the camcorder. in
Because
second
you're
grade.
bigger, you're better. Because you're better, you practice more. Because you practice more, you're better. And then
Yeah.
and now you're on the
But
Olympic team.
Dave said it, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
also think, kind of going off your theory, is that I think there's a natural draw that we have to something. Like,
Sure.
for example, when I was in high school or in college especially, I used to read the dictionary. I loved words. And I just was drawn to like comedy. I actually did a little bit of comedy, and not too successful either. I mean, I was drawn to radio. So it's like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said a buddy of his likes to research and go out and find mushrooms. And I was like, who does that? but we need some people to do everything. We need some people to be obsessed about cockroaches or mold or and so I think God distributes the talents, because if everybody was interested in the same thing, then nobody would be doing the research. But anyways, I think
You might say there's a formal cause to
I think
quote
you're
Aquinas.
playing
Isn't that
into
for
the Summa
Isn't
here.
that for the next interview?
Oh, is it? Whoops.
Yeah, no, formal cause.
Listen, Nick and I are looking at each other using context clues here because neither one of us are. I Summa know something, but not much. That doesn't even
You know
work.
some of the Summa?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I know some of nothing.
I did a
Some of
video
them.
on my YouTube channel where I summarized the entire Summa in 4 minutes. It's one of my most successful
He
videos.
just speaks really fast.
yes. So I know
Yeah.
you're a Summa expert, but let's take it back to little Dave. What you're telling all the people the weather. What goes forward from there in your career, life, Catholic? Like, were you Catholic? You became Catholic because you loved the thunderstorms? Like, what? Tell us about
Well,
this.
I'll tell you. The honest truth is, when I was, I went. I'm like you. I went to Jesuit. I'm in the 80s. Graduated 85. And when I was
Dallas Jesuit?
Yeah. I'm a Jesuit grad.
Awesome.
And when I was in high school, I was a big fan of David Letterman. You know, okay,
yeah.
that's probably another name that young people don't know.
YouTube,
Now
David
he was
Letterman.
like he was
Jimmy
like the
Fallon.
biggest guy, and he got into comedy and he got into his TV show. But he first was a weatherman. So I got into weather for all the wrong reasons, you know, because I was like, well, if David Letterman can be, because you can also, because weather can be kind of boring, and you can, you can spice it up, you can make jokes and all that. But there was the pivotal moment in my weathercasting career was in Denison, Texas. I was working for KTEN, Channel 10 in Denison,
10, you
Texas, and I did not yet have a degree in meteorology, and they put me on the air. And it was a tornado warning. Ooh. And I was thinking, like, this is life and death. I mean, I really didn't know that much about what I was talking about. And I was just thinking, like, I just maybe know a little bit more than the average listener. And I'm cutting into, like, Family Feud to make it.
This is awesome.
Run!
This is real bad.
Did you?
And I was like,
At the time, did you know the difference between a watch and a warning? Because I don't think I've ever figured out the
Nobody
difference.
knows.
oh, yeah.
between a
Yo,
tornado
no,
watch.
I
You
don't.
watch for a warning.
Is
That's
that
how
right?
you remember.
A watch means conditions
Yeah.
are suitable
Watch out
for
for
a
it.
tornado to form. A warning means
It's happening.
there's one on radar.
Man,
or
this
on
is
the
like
ground.
The Office, because I kept saying, warning, you're getting ready to watch out.
Wrong.
Exactly backwards.
Family Guy reference. Did you jump on and say, it's raining sideways?
No, it was weird. I mean, it's like, what am I doing? I got into this for comedy, and now here I am telling people that
like 99%
at
of the weather.
F5, maybe a mile from their house, and this just didn't seem right. So then I went and got a
Does
degree.
anybody think this is funny?
I'm loving this.
No,
Amazing.
no.
I got into the weather for comedy.
I did get a degree, though. I ended up getting a degree.
In
but it was
meteorology?
funny. You remember the movie Twister?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So those were all the guys that I went to school with. And it was so funny because we would have to practice weathercasts, and they would have to tell guys, and sometimes it would be real ones. And if there was actually a tornado in the area, they would have to tell people, don't sound too excited because most people don't like tornadoes. Because these are
They're
weather
pumped
guys.
up.
These guys,
Be
and
informative,
they're like,
yeah.
we got a tornado on the ground, and they're like, okay, no, don't. That's bad. Okay, this is a bad thing. Okay, people don't like tornadoes, but it was crazy. And
So just to clarify, you didn't go to school with Bill Paxton, the actor, right? Like you
You just went to
I
people like him.
I went to Mississippi State University and
with
got a-
weather peoples.
Yeah, there was more than one. Okay. No, I got a degree in broadcast meteorology.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
We didn't do the heavy science like they do at like A&M or Penn State or some of these other schools, but
It was just pseudoscience.
More of the broadcasting part of
Raining
it.
sideways.
It's raining sideways.
I feel like it's going to rain. That's the throb in my knee.
so can I tell you one more weather story?
Please, this is
so
awesome.
saw
Never knew this about you.
no. So one time, you're at the desk. You're kind of like this, right? And the weather guy is always on the end. Okay, you got the sports guy on one end, and then you got the two main anchors here. The desk is a little bigger than this, but and so I'm where Jeff is, right? And I'm hooked up with my lavalier mic, and you got all these cords and stuff like this. And so I never forget, her name was Nancy Utter, and so she turns to me and says, "Well, Dave, Dave Palmer, our weather guy, how is the weather looking?" And then you're supposed to engage the anchor for 30 seconds, and then while you're still talking, you're walking to the weather wall. Okay. So I say, "Well, Nancy, it looks like we may have a cold front headed to Denison, and that means some changes, and then they cut away to the map, right? And so I'm walking into the map. Well, I fall, and I totally busted. And so and so I'm still trying to carry my conversation on with Nancy back at the desk, and I'm
Keep it together.
and I'm sweating and picking myself up off the floor.
Oh no.
Oh man,
I bet they still have footage of that somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
Can we hunt that down?
Yeah,
I
do
think
so.
we're gonna today's show will just end by having you walk over to the whiteboard.
Just walk over there, come back.
Remember, I got into it for comedy, right? Did I mention that?
Slapstick comedy.
And so, no.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, not weather.
Where's the breakout from that to radio? What happens there?
Okay, so I went to Mississippi State University, got a degree in weather, worked for a company called the National Weather Network, not National Weather Service, National Weather Network, and we were doing weathercasts for like 100 stations across the country, and they were like these little 30-second insert, where like WBs or UPNs or they don't have their own weather department, so we're like uploading it via satellite, right?
Got it.
And so I'm doing that for a while, and then all of a sudden I get the radio bug. And what was the question again?
How'd you leave it? Like what?
Okay.
Yeah. What?
So then I this is kind of interesting. I ended up working at a news talk station in Jackson, Mississippi for a while, because like I said, I always wanted to do radio, right? And then I'm in my like early 30s by now. I'm still single. I'm living in Jackson, Mississippi, with like a population of Catholicism of like 0.002.
Yeah.
So I think there were only 10 Catholic
You knew
women
'em.
in the state.
Yeah.
And I'm marriage minded, and I'm thinking, I think I've met every Catholic woman in the state. And so my mom was like, come back to Dallas, because there's all kinds of stuff, and there's Young Sarens, and there's all these groups. So it actually, what brought me back in working in Dallas radio at the time is basically getting involved in Catholic groups. And
That's awesome.
yeah. And then I ended up meeting my wife online.
Was she from Jackson?
Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Those
she's
are very
She's
different.
from Belfast,
Yeah.
Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah. You were never going to meet her in Jackson, though. So good thing.
No.
Okay. And then
okay.
didn't you get on just regular secular radio at some
Yeah,
point, right?
I did. I was Super Dave. Yeah.
On
What?
Y95.
Y95.
Super Dave.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So no, this was.
Y'all.
I've had a while. This has been a wild career. So it was. I get out of I graduate SMU. A degree in communications journalism. Get a job at like a specialty advertising company, and I was like, I don't think I like this. And so I call Y95, and I'm like 25, 26 years old. I'm not a youngster. And I said, can I volunteer at your station? They said, yeah, sure. We need somebody to answer the phones. So I'm answering the phone, and all the 12-year-olds are telling me they want to hear Milli Vanilli or
I called you, Dave. I guarantee it.
Well, you weren't listening to Milli Vanilli. I'm just saying that.
Just a song that had their name on it.
Because they lip synced, that's a reference. Anyway.
So the war broke out, the first Gulf War,
Yeah.
and the morning jock was like, we want to put somebody up on a billboard in Dallas in tights waving an American flag, and we're going to have the sign say, honk your horns to support the troops for Super Dave. Okay, so I'm up. No, seriously.
way.
This was my break into radio. I got up on a billboard in red tights and a cape. And on a cell phone reporting back, and man, I'm like 25 years old, and I'm like, I'm on Dallas radio morning drive. I had to wear tights to get there, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that on your profile for Catholic Match?
Loves America.
Well, my wife is aware that I did this. Yeah.
And then you end up doing bits after that, right? Like Super Day became your thing, your on-air thing,
Oh
right?
yeah. And I mean crazy stuff like it's all theater of the mind, right? It's radio, and there was no YouTube and all that, so nobody saw me, and I had to like do a fake voice. This is Super Dave, hey. And the morning guy was Jack Murphy. I'm like, hello Murph, Super Dave here, and I was like, I'm on the corner of LBJ and Preston, and if any women want to come arm wrestle Super Dave, come now. I mean seriously, it's all in and I got George Michael tickets for any woman who could beat me in arm wrestling. I mean seriously, this is the stuff we were doing.
Super Dave.
And
I used to
it's
sunbathe and listen to you. This is not a joke. Like,
Wait. Why? Sorry,
Sunbathe.
Sorry, what?
I'll never be able to unhear that.
I know. Nor will our audience, which we just lost about half of.
We know.
Why were you
The numbers are rapidly declining.
Why were you
There they go.
sunbathing?
We just lost about 5 subscribers.
And I was on
tell me
it
you've never
like,
sunbathed.
Jeff, I'm on it like 6 in the
If I
morning.
have, I haven't claimed that it was.
The sun wasn't even out. 6 in the morning.
I haven't used that verbiage to talk about it. Yo, wow, you're turning red right now. Are you sunbathing?
Every time I hear him, it just comes back.
I used to sunbathe and listen to you.
You're the first person that's ever told me that.
Everybody else kept that stuff bottled up.
Not Jeff. Nope.
The stuff that comes out of the BeatiDudes.
I did. I don't care what time you think you were on air. I heard you when I was sunbathing.
Man,
Listen to it on
I've
a
come
recorder.
Come
on a
full
recording.
circle.
I used a recorder. Okay. So from that to what? Where do we go from here, Dave?
How about
I don't know if
Whoa,
there's any
whoa, whoa.
recovering.
How did you you run a big Catholic news station?
To
Tell you-
translate,
can I-
how did you get to becoming?
on Catholic radio?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Okay. That all that Y95 stuff was. See, I got the chronology off.
It's okay.
It's the BeatiDudes.
Yeah. So
You
so
can say
so,
anything. There's no fact checkers.
First, you were on radio. In Dallas. Then you went to be a
nobody's
meteorologist.
checking the chronology here,
Then you
right?
came
Okay.
back.
So the truth is, I for a variety of reasons, I became really interested in my faith. Because quite frankly, true honesty here, which is redundant, but
Yeah, not like that false honesty.
I hate that false honesty.
setting you
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there,
I was waiting.
Aquinas teach you
I
that
was
one.
waiting.
no, I wanted to get married. I wanted a good Catholic woman. There were some situations in my life when I was like trying to find a good Catholic woman, and this is like, but I wasn't a good Catholic guy, and so I was like, and there were a variety of things that happened, and all of a sudden I really got into my faith. I started studying at the IRPS program at UD, Institute for Religious and Pastoral Studies. Dr. D'Ambrosio, I know he was a previous guest. He was one of my teachers, and all of a sudden I'm like, I got to do something involving the faith, and so they hired me at Bishop Dunn. For 3 years, I taught high school at Bishop Dunn in South Dallas, which was great. And then during that, I found out that there was this group called the St. Francis Xavier Society, and they were trying to get a Catholic radio station in North Texas. And there was a gentleman by the name of Deacon Stanley Gaines. He was an African-American deacon from St. Anthony Parish in Dallas. And they would have meetings about once a month, and we get together and talk, and boy, wouldn't it be cool to have Catholic radio? Yeah, raise a little bit of money and have meetings. And it just didn't seem to be going anywhere. And then eventually, there was about $30,000 in the bank that had been raised, and and Deacon Stanley died. Mike Murray, who works in this area, he was actually the president of the group. He was my boss at that one time.
Oh, that's cool.
And it kind of just got to the point where we hadn't had a meeting in a few months, and nothing was really happening. And so I was in my third year of teaching at Bishop Dunn, and so I called Mike and I said, hey, now we got a little money in the bank, and we're trying to get this Catholic radio station. I said, have you ever thought about hiring somebody that could kind of, be some boots on the ground, and if you run out of money, fire me. And the board voted, and they said, yeah, do it. So you're our executive director. Wow. And that's how I got into Catholic radio. And then we found the gentleman who now still owns our stations. We operate our local stations. We don't own them.
Yeah.
And then I was introduced to the Guadalupe radio people, Toya and Len, and they were looking to get into a big market, and Radio Xavier had gone as far as they could, and we got a station, and the rest is history.
What year are we talking?
The station went on the air October 1st, 2006.
It's incredible.
And so it's been about 17 and a half years.
How did all that journey line up for when you actually ended up meeting the woman you would marry? Did your plans work out there?
Yeah, because on the advice of my mom, when I came back to Dallas from Mississippi, she said there's this online dating stuff that's kind of taken off, and there's this thing called Ave Maria Singles, and she said, why don't you put a profile on there? I said, sure. What I got to lose? I thought it was kind of exciting, and so I put a profile up, and that's how I met her. And I'd broken off an engagement because I was engaged to a lady here locally. And so it's kind of a funny story. The reason I did an international search was because I wasn't ready really to date. So I figured, well, the safest thing would be to just do maybe a couple of ladies overseas. Yeah, and you shouldn't do this because people are on dating sites to get married and all that. And I wrote two women. One was in Holland. My wife was living in Holland at the time, and one was in England. And my wife wrote me back, and started going back and forth talking to her. And one day, less than a year after that initial email, we got married at St. Aidan's Catholic Church in McGilligan, Northern Ireland. And so it happened pretty quickly, but that's how that happened.
From one email to 1 year later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the weather like in Ireland?
For our wedding?
Yeah.
It was cold. It was December 29th, 2003.
We're December 29th.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
But
Wait,
probably
can- wait,
much
can
later
you-
than that.
Different year. Different year.
Can you deliver the weather, though, the way you would have?
Well, there was a lot of cloud cover in the skies over McGilligan, Northern Ireland that day. A cold front had come through, and it kicked up a lot of moist air into the atmosphere. And that
Slam!
don't go reaching for the sound effects. I was warned about those. No, it's all like... Well, you don't want to go back to the weathercasting.
Then Paul says, "Have a nice trip. See you next fall."
No,
Nice.
it was Ireland gets a lot of rain, right? And we had all cloudy skies and like, horrible weather. I mean, it's bleak winter, and in the winter in Northern Ireland, you only have you have very little daylight. It's very dark because they're very far north. But it's like the day we got married. The sky, I mean. It opened up and it was sunny, and we have pictures on the beach where it's like sunny.
Yeah.
It was the only day within like a month.
Jeff was there sunbathing.
I was listening to you.
He
was
was
listening to your
watching the
wedding.
stream at home sunbathing.
I was.
I think that's going to become a running joke on BeatiDudes.
Anything can.
Yeah,
You
at
never know.
least a limping joke. It'll get there.
It may become what you can sign up for. We can sunbathe and listen to Dave on GR.
So were you like at a pool,
Yes,
listening
a
to
backyard pool, and there was nothing you held to your head. It was radio. Okay.
Okay, not like a Walkman or.
For our younger listeners,
I think that would you just point for me to move on?
No. I was thinking of like the little
the
ticker,
thing- I thought
the
it was like
ticker that
moving
goes.
on.
The
Yeah.
ticker that goes along the bottom. For
Yeah.
younger listeners that you can add in post.
Amazing.
Dave, we want to keep talking about the ways that Catholic radio has impacted you and other people, but first we'd like to play a game with you.
A game called Blessed Are the Joke Makers, for they shall
Okay.
inherit the points.
That's right.
Oh
How does this
gosh.
work, big guy?
oh
Oh, wait, how many points?
Yeah, I was going to say 77.
Yep.
cool, love it. All right, and the way this works is we have a Catholic card game card with a prompt, and we have a character card that we have to then use to answer the Catholic card game prompt. So, the prompt that we have to answer is, what should I give up for Lent? Now, that's very apropos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in it.
Yep, as at time of recording. And it's time traveler from the past or future. So again, real quick, as a time traveler from the past or future, what should I give up for Lent?
Doc, I'm going to give up all those trays I made of apple back in '82. I'm going to hold on to them, Doc. They're worth a lot in the future.
One of your better impersonations. That was great.
That nobody outside of my age group is going to get.
I'm like,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I'm pandering, so thank you.
wow, hey, I am so excited to be here. This is pretty interesting stuff, equipment, these cables on the microphones. But, man, for Lent, I think I've got to give up this sunbathing and listening to the radio. It's just not working out for me in the 80s. And I'm going to go back there now.
Oh man,
Okay.
that's got to be the crowd favorite.
Yes, I'm here from the recent past to tell you that you need to come down and give up arm wrestling for Lent. That's right, because I'll beat you anyway. That's right, Super Dave here. Check out these tights.
77 points. Who
All
are you
right,
giving them
who's
to?
Who's getting those big points?
Now, how did you get up with 77 points? What does that mean?
I made it
You're
up.
putting way too much
Completely.
logic
It's
already.
like,
into
have
this.
you ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway? The points are made up, and they don't matter.
Okay. They don't matter. So none of it matters. Could have been
Well, there's a
does
lot
to
of
me.
pride behind
Yeah.
this.
So I just pick one winner.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, this is tough.
And it's purely subjective. It does not matter. It's
Yeah.
whoever tickled your
A lot
funny
of
bone.
people would give
Yeah.
credit to somebody who's willing to get out there first.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Or
people
second.
ignore whoever goes first or second.
Yeah. The narcissist in me would be like, hey, I'm going to pick Paul because he did me. I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool, right? But I'm too good for that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to eliminate Paul.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All
I've
right,
got anti-points.
Negative 77 for Paul. We need that.
Christopher, do not.
I'm not going to. And I got to say, well,
This is
is there a time limit on how long I have to
You
decide?
gotta
or-
come up with something. It's the show.
So I gotta say with Nick, I'm like, who is he imitating? I don't even know what he's doing here, right? And so at first I'm like, okay, this is probably the worst because I don't even know I don't even know who he's
Fair.
imitating. But then there was that moment when I'm like, oh man, he's ripping on Shovelbein. This is a theme that has kind of carried through the show. And I can't not pick him. Okay,
Can't not
so-
pick him.
okay.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
This is
worst
Yeah,
to
that's-
first.
that's-
worst to first.
That's a double negative, which means I pick him.
Do you remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where people would explain why they're choosing the answers?
Do you know how
That
bad
was
you did,
awesome.
Paul? And Jeff.
I know.
Well,
Nobody cares about you, but as soon as they make fun of you, Jeff,
That was the
we're
closest
all
we've
in.
ever gotten to negative points.
Christopher's gonna give me negative points.
Well,
That's what's-
Christopher, you can give yourself points if you give him negative points.
Take him from Paul and give him to
They cancel each other out.
And I got to tell you, I admire you guys. I mean, seriously, this is an honest thing. I'm not joking around. I admire you guys so much for being able to do that. To be able to do something like that would just absolutely freak me out, especially in the moment. Like to have to think of something like that. Like it's kind of double pronged, like
fun.
past,
Yeah.
future, Lent.
you.
I mean, no, seriously, I
That was one of the cooler, weird prompts we
Yeah,
ever got.
I
But
like that. That was a good combo.
for being our celebrity guest judge today, Super Dave, you're going to get a pair of Sockreligious socks from sockreligious.com of Our Lady of Lourdes. Do you have these yet?
oh man.
The feast day was a month ago, but here's my socks for you from the three of us and from Sockreligious. Anybody listening can get their own socks 10% off by going to sockreligious.com/BeatiDudes. We'll see you right after the break, folks.
Stop what you're doing and listen to the BeatiDudes.
The team at Aquinas Wealth Advisors believes that good values and good returns are not mutually exclusive. Using a tech-smart and morally sound approach, they provide investment alternatives that align with Catholic teachings without sacrificing returns. These days, faith-driven investors are finding it hard to know where their money is going. They have no visibility into what their dollars are supporting, but there's a better way. Thanks to the Faith and Finance Score from Aquinas Wealth Advisors, you can look into your current holdings to see what you're supporting and make a switch to an advisor that aligns with your values and gives power to your voice. Check out AquinasWealth.com today.
Hey, BeatiDudes, it's Jeff here. When Nick and I set out and we started this company, Undivided Life, we decided to not use traditional healthcare, but we went with Solidarity HealthShare because we thought it was an affordable and ethical alternative that matched the needs of our business and our growing families. Since then, my family put Solidarity to the test. We've had pregnancies, babies, emergency room visits, even a brain surgery for one of my children, and Solidarity has been an incredible partner and has also had the cost and the ethical approach that we love. Here's a link for you to go check it out. learnmore.solidarityhealthshare.org/BeatiDudes. This is your chance to be in solidarity with the Scheffelbein family.
Hi, it's Paul Kolker from the BeatiDudes here, and I just wanted to share with you guys that I also, outside of the show, perform improv comedy on a regular basis with a group called Divine Comedy. So what we do is we come up with everything on the spot, so whether you're looking for faith-filled, fun, family-friendly comedy for your youth night, or whether you're looking for clean comedy for your corporate event, Divine Comedy can perform for your group and even get you in on the action. So if you'd like to hire us to come out and perform for your next event, check out DivineComedyImprov.com. Divine Comedy, an inferno of fun.
near, far, wherever you are, stop right now. It's time for the BeatiDudes.
That's right, everybody. Welcome back from that amazing commercial break where you got to listen to me, Jeff, and Paul tell you about more amazing, amazing things.
Commercial, it's us.
If you skipped over that by pressing fast forward, go back and listen.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
We're here with Dave Palmer, Guadalupe Radio Network. What executive director? Is that the right title?
That's the title, yes.
We're covering everything
Yes.
under the sun.
Yeah.
Finally, it's the Dave Show.
Is that a
oh
sunbathing
my
reference?
God.
Oh, man.
And it was a weather reference. That was gold.
Yeah.
Do you
It's
know how cool I
everything
thought I
under
was
the
back
sun.
then? Instead of having regular swim trunks, I had a pair of those.
No, this is where you
Nope.
should have censored yourself.
Nope.
It was a wetsuit, but it was just the shorts part of the wetsuit. And it
No.
was so awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is.
Yep. Jeff, here in this second segment, I thought we'd just go straight into the question of the day.
You bet. Well, I got it right here. The TBD question of the day, and all four of us participate in this one. So for those of you playing at home, throw it in the comments, but you're going to put your first and last name, and then you're going to finish out the sentence. So it's your name hates blank. So Jeff Scheffelbein hates blank. Set y'all up here real quick. So I'm going to go first on this. Feel free to offer one or many. This hit me the other day. I incessantly clean up trash the second somebody sets it down, even if they are maybe not even done with something. Like, I just think maybe you're done with that food. Jeff Scheffelbein hates trash. I hate things that are like this can. If he's done drinking it, I hate it.
Real life example.
I'm not.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
I've literally thrown away an apple that somebody was going to eat because I thought it looked like it might be trash.
Just clear it. Get it out.
I hate it.
Amazing.
Hate's a strong word, but you
Yeah.
hate something. So
No, but
go for
it's
it.
interesting as a prompt, right? Because it gets you thinking
Right.
instantly, like, oh, what's the thing that bothers me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got?
So I'll go,
Full name.
Paul Kolker hates people who drive the speed limit in the left lane. I don't actually hate the people,
Yeah.
just to be clear.
Hate the car.
I love them. I hate the situation because I know I've also been that person at times where I'm just not thinking about what the speed limit is and that kind of thing. So I'm not judging. However, it is for passing, and I often speed and
Yeah, I think this also shows your lifestyle. Like, Paul has to be in a lot of places every day.
fast lane. I can't bilocate, and so it's like I'm just trying to get to where I need to go.
Keep trying.
Yeah. Yes. Just need to pray harder. But yeah, no, I just there's even signage in different areas that say like left lane for passing, but police never enforce that.
Do you know what? Something we have in common. I see signage that says trash here, like throw away trash here or trash can.
Yeah.
There's signage for mine too.
Yeah.
Put it
You're
away.
so similar. Y'all are so similar.
Dave, you go last. What about you, Nick?
Oh,
This one's really specific. Nick Besner hates when the hand towel doesn't get replaced on laundry day. It's like you go wash your hands, you're like, now what?
Hands.
What am I supposed I got wet hands, and I'm nowhere near anything that could dry them.
What if you were wearing a wetsuit, shorts?
That doesn't work either.
Your thighs wouldn't be wet.
Anyway, so that's just like
It's
a
very
specific
specific.
one.
yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. Dave, what does Dave Palmer hate?
You know, it's funny. I remember I told you I'm very bad and impromptu, and this makes me very nervous and all
Yeah.
that. And I've changed my mind about 15 times because I've been thinking about this ever since the beginning of the show. Like, what do I hate? But I came up with one
Okay.
that I definitely hate. And I hate when people have, like, filthy bumper sticker messages or on their shirts. And I, obviously I'm not going to give examples because it's a clean show, but when it's just like, you've seen those where somebody, it's just like really uncalled for.
Yeah,
or
my 8 and 10-year-old saw the sign that had terrible language on a flag on a truck, and I'm like,
something really crude.
Yeah.
And I just like,
come on.
I like,
Yeah.
and I
I
normally,
saw one of those driving
want to,
yesterday. I'm like, what?
I want to pass them.
But they're in the
Yeah,
left
and-
lane.
Sunday.
And they throw their trash out the window.
You can get me close enough to them, I'd throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that trash is a hand towel. It should have been
Jeff
replaced.
Scheffelbein hates trash. Dave Palmer hates trashy messages.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nope,
That's why we're kindred spirits.
Yeah,
I feel
there's-
it.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. I
We're
love it.
so similar.
Yeah. Replace hand towel after washing.
That was very specific.
Never read that sign.
no
At-
sign
at
for
Nick's
that.
house.
There is. I'm putting some in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really drilling down. Like, I feel like that's like, oh, I hate when toothpicks have a minty flavor. Like such a specific,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be wood. Why would they put mint on there?
Here's a more broad one. I hate when there's not order or organization to a file structure. It's like I hate
What,
that.
Mister? I'm the master of spreadsheets. Doesn't like
When
order?
there's no organization.
No, I know.
We see
Oh,
this coming
oh,
from
oh,
a
yeah,
mile
yeah,
away.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm not shocked.
I literally led that initiative at my last company.
What do you think
I'm
about
like,
math
I
equi-
showed up here and I'm like, how can you find anything in this
Yeah.
mess?
Chaotic.
What about when you watch me try to do a match between two columns and I'm just counting and writing things? Does that you feel good about that one?
Yeah, use a formula.
Yeah. He hates if you don't use formulas.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
I'm not even Nick, and I know that.
You know this. Hey,
Don't hard code in a cell. Refer to an extra cell.
There you go.
I said that during my overnight stay in a prison cell. No hard coding.
I saw that on a bumper sticker in a car in the left lane.
With a wet towel hanging off the rear view mirror.
It dried out real quick.
It's one.
Everybody in our car hates everything in your car.
Yeah, you should have
Like
like
drive down the road.
should have like a fifth guy in the show that has to tie everything together and make a story out of it, maybe into a children's story.
Actually, if Christopher in the comments can, if you can start to get the timeline correct for everything Dave told us, we want to know years and
see it.
dates. We want to see
I
it laid
know.
out because he was engaged to another woman at one point. We don't even know how that fit into the
I
story.
don't even know if it's true.
Yeah, he just dropped that in there like it wasn't a big deal.
Hey,
Believe me, it was true.
how do people, first of all, tune in to hear, whether they're local or not local, to the work you're doing with Guadalupe Radio Network? Let's start there.
Okay. Yeah, GRN's a big network. We've got, as of this taping, 45 radio stations. The local station in North Texas is 910 a.m. And you can also download the Guadalupe Radio Network app, which is easy to do. We're also streaming at grnonline.com. And, of course, nowadays you're on all the social media networks. And so we're on, Facebook and X and I want to say Twitter, but no, may God rest its soul. It no longer exists. But Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, those kind of things.
Those things.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so then, when you get feedback from people, what role does Catholic radio end up playing in people's lives? Like, what have you experienced just from the common person, the I don't know, the breakthrough stories? It's got to have some uplifting pieces to it.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah,
in
I've
4
heard a
minutes.
lot. 4 minutes. Okay, all of them. No, I think most people get to a point in their life, like maybe they're not a teenager, maybe they're getting married, they just baptized their first kid, and they realize I don't know my faith, and I'm going to raise this child, and I need to know my faith, and so they just have this hunger for learning and understanding the faith. But if I can tell you one poignant story, and to me, this kind of summarizes what Catholic radio is all about. I was given a talk at St. Catherine of Siena Parish in Carrollton. It just, up at the Ambo after Mass about Catholic radio and tune in. So I finish, I go back to my table in the back of the church, and I clean up, and everybody leaves. But there's this one middle-aged lady, and just kind of waiting around, and I just didn't know, what she was hanging around for. And then I start to leave, and she said, "Can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yes, sure, certainly." And she comes up, and she just starts bawling, and tears are just flowing down her. And she said, "I just wanted you to know that I was listening to Catholic radio, and and something I heard at the right moment, the right time. For the first time in my entire life, I realized God loves me." And it made me so sad because she's probably 45 years old, and it took her that long. But it was like the right message, like one of those divinely appointed moments when she was meant to listen at that time, and it changed her entire life. And I never saw her since. I don't know her name. I wouldn't even probably recognize her if she walked into the studio. But that's if that happens because you listen to Catholic radio and you understand God loves you, you understand your faith better. That's what it's all about.
That's incredible.
God, I got chills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you get to see a lot of those stories, and it's actually how we got to be together was an interview now 8 years ago I was on one of your shows on the local Guadalupe Radio Network station. And I just remember sitting down and you just started talking in your regular voice. But because I was used to listening to you on the radio, I thought you were recording. So I was like panicking, trying to give you the right answers. And then about 5 minutes later, you go, we'll start recording here in just a few minutes. And I'm like, what have we been doing? What is this?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
like then, like I was in front of the booth and you would like point because they were giving you different numbers. I'm like, am I supposed to be doing something? I'm like looking around.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, your prep was terrible.
I'm sorry. You know, I can't tell you. If this has happened once, it's happened 30 times. I'll answer the phone in my office, right? Ding-ling, hello, Dave, and are we on the air?
Somebody just calling in.
No, I'm in my office. It's just like somebody calling me for
Yeah.
we're not on the air, are we?
Oh.
And
Because your voice.
a lot of times they're not joking, And the other funny thing, talking about voice earlier, is that a lot of times, because I sound, I sound like a telemarketer, to be honest with you. And so I call people. Like one time I was calling a lady to tell her she won like a big prize, and I'm like, she answers like, hello, and I was like, hi, hi, is this Susan? And she's like, yes, who is this? And I'm like, it's Dave Palmer with Guadalupe Radio. Oh, hi, Dave. And I get that all the time because I sound like a telemarketer.
I just wanted to reach out to you about your extended vehicle warranty.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's who she thought it was, yeah.
Every third Friday of the month, Paul and I have a show, the Undivided Intention Show. We appreciate that opportunity to do cool stuff with you. But we do every show differently. We end it on Mondays differently. So we're just going to hand our show over to you. This is This is the BeatiDudes with your host, Dave Palmer. And Dave, what would you like to say to everybody? Super Dave Palmer.
All right, so I'm hosting the show now.
Yeah,
Thank
you
very
got
much.
about 5 minutes of hosting. So maybe you could do the entire Summa, or you can ask Nick questions. I mean, whatever you want.
Okay, no, we're not going to do any Summa. I think that's for the next
That's
one,
right, yeah.
Okay,
So tune in on Friday.
Yeah, come back
Stick
Friday.
back.
all right. So, this is kind of a pat question, but I always like to ask it. What was a memorable show where it was just like, man, that was a great guest, that was a great conversation, it just really worked? I mean, what comes to your mind when you think of just like the maybe one of the top memories of your time with the show?
I'll give you one. Very relevant to me right this second, too. I surprised these guys. We had Todd Storch on here. He was talking about the death of his daughter who died at 13 in a ski accident. They donated her organs. And then as a result of a lot of healing, they started Taylor's Gift Foundation. Well, Taylor had written a poem the week before she passed, and it's beautiful. It's about life. It's about meaning. It's about family. I actually had a recording of my 8-year-old daughter reading it, and I plugged it into our machine here and didn't really give anybody a heads up, and I pressed play. And I had only heard it maybe once or twice. To sit here and listen to it with these gentlemen and with Todd and all of us just crying was probably one of the most moving. It's like the microphones melted away. This wasn't about this anymore. It was about what was happening in this room. We have a lot of those moments. FYI, my 10-year-old just sat down with Tara Storch and had a coffee date to talk about the book with her because the 10-year-old read it. And Tara came to my house at night and said, your daughter's questions blew me away because she was getting into the depth of her soul. So that family story is so moving and so faith-based in the biggest challenges. But I don't know. The times when the microphone leaves and it's just us, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I would go with Father Ken Geraci because he basically led us through a forgiveness retreat packed into one episode. It was pretty incredible. And I've since watched some more of his stuff that he's just out there on other shows being interviewed, so I'll see stuff pop up on YouTube. And I watched one of his things where he says to verbally speak out loud who you are forgiving, and to basically say, Lord, at the final judgment, do not hold any of the tear the pages out of their book of life, right? That tear the pages out where they affected me, hurt me, offended me, whatever it was. And I've actually tried doing that since, but it was because I was made aware of him because we actually got to interview him, and he let us, he paved the way on our show. But then seeing that one, that's actually been a part of my morning prayer recently, is just trying to find people that I can speak that forgiveness of, don't hold this against them. And it's been slowly transformative. I'm not saying I just have forgiven outright everything that has ever happened in my life, but it's been a huge step in the right direction.
Power.
Father Chris Alar, pretty cool. My father-in-law brokered him being here, which was really cool.
We paid the normal rate.
Yeah, and yeah, we did. We paid our standard rate, and we prayed Divine Mercy Chaplet with him, and I've gone back and started using that in my own daily
That's
prayer
cool.
of the chaplet, which is kind of weird to listen to yourself pray with yourself. I'm very loud, so I kind of overpower you too.
We noticed.
It was the eyebrows.
But it was the eyebrows.
The eyebrows speak louder than the hair.
But that's been awesome. I've just
No, that's
really enjoyed
cool.
that.
Yeah.
What a question.
Yeah. Did you find, because the show is really funny, but it's also really sublime, and do you ever find that that's hard to make? Like you're talking about the Todd Storage. I mean, that's not a funny topic, So, but then this one, we've had a lot of laughs and all that. It's probably been leaning more to the comedy than the serious, right? How do you kind of, how do you find that balance? And because it can be too serious or too funny, right?
I can feel it sometimes too. I mean, sunbathing probably went off the rails. But, I will say that I feel very comfortable playing in both places because I think that's how we're living our lives. It's not a put on. It's not our character. It's just us being us. I mean, the same thing would be happening if we were on a road trip together right now. It's like this weaving of both together. From an audience perspective, though, every once in a while, I think we got to watch out because we cover topics that can be really difficult to hear or even really difficult to talk about with language that's appropriate. So there's a little bit of prep sometimes if we know that's going to happen. Or twice we've gone back and recorded an intro to the show that just says, hey, this is a tough show. You ought to listen, but don't do this when you're sitting around the work environment, your cubicle, you're pressing play and you don't know what you're about to get into because we're going to cover these tough topics.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd say anything else to that one.
Yeah. I mean, I might just add that we do pray before the show, and we are just kind of goofy but faith-filled personalities, and so I think that there is a large part of this where we're just saying, "Come, Holy Spirit," and trying to trust and follow whatever unfolds in that moment.
I think we have great rapport as well. Just seeing oh, this is where this is going. Don't play the silly game where we're playing an improv in the middle of this one. Just skip it. We don't need to do it.
Isn't that funny? That's totally Holy
it's
Spirit.
just-
Nobody says a word
Nobody
to each
says
other.
it. We just see it, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way we do these edits too, we can just throw in the commercials post edits. So we don't have to go to break.
Yeah.
So when we do that kind of stuff, we'll just throw them in, afterwards.
If there's a beautiful moment unfolding, we just let that happen.
Yeah.
Do I have time for one more question?
Yeah. Do I have? You want me to take off my shirt?
Jeff!
No.
This is a family-approved show.
These lights are so bright.
You can get a
I
tan.
was given the
Just go one
instructions
just
for
go one
here's what
button.
we expect of
One
our
button.
guests. It is a family show, so
Yeah.
I got time.
Yeah.
Okay, that threw me off a little bit.
Oh,
There's a show on Catholic radio called Women of Grace,
Yeah.
and they always make the point that a lot of men listen to Women of Grace.
Ooh, great.
This is clearly a show by guys, primarily for guys, right? Do you have a lot of women?
We do.
That are watching.
Dave,
and
it's just slick marketing. If you say it's for men,
they want
lots of women watch.
Don't spill the beans. No. But it's on YouTube at least. I think the stats are 33% female, and so fully a third of our audience on YouTube is women.
Do you have an international audience?
We do
Absolutely.
actually.
Yeah.
We're big in the Aussie town of Australia.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Got some Irish.
Some
Yep.
Irish. It really is
Yeah.
guest driven. I think we've yet to just crack the international algorithm.
Yeah, we did have a lot of Italians for a while there because we had.
Father Andrew
Thank
Dalton.
you. Yeah, just blanked there.
Yep.
But yep.
But yeah, more guest driven probably. But yeah,
we're about to be really big in Swiss because we have a Swiss guard coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or as
In
most people
Swiss.
call it, Switzerland.
There it is. Math's hard.
I thought I was talking about the cheese.
We
Hey.
should have had some of that.
We should have. Gosh. All right, Dave. We gave you some amazing socks. Here's my joke for you that we don't just do orthodoxy, we do orthosoxy here. I'm going to try to give that to
That's pretty
Scott
good.
Williams.
Scott will take that.
I know.
He will.
He should. Okay, so stick around Friday. We're going to be talking about some of the teaching that Dave Palmer does in his classrooms.
Summa the teaching.
Some of the teaching.
Wow.
Gosh, it just never gets old, huh? We'll give
I'm
you.
going to learn what that is.
We'll
so
give
I'm
you a Summa.
excited.
We'll give you a Summa to talk about on Friday. It's really just the same word over and over.
It
again.
is, but it's still fun every time.
All right.
Not just Summa at the time.
Nope, not just Summa. So hope you're ready Tus for this one.
Reditus.
Yeah, exitus reditus. It's a Thomistic thing.
Okay.
Dave, we are going to see you.
That's a good one. That was very clever. Yeah.
He can go deep. Deep cuts.
Then we'll exitus.
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop out the micatus. And so listen, Dave, we will see you on the radio, and the rest of you will see you
In the Eucharist.
God bless you. Trash. The assist.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @, so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @the_BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.
This podcast is part of the Spoke Street Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.